graphic drawing. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hello everybody. So this video is intended to answer questions from students related to chapter 2.2, the part that we have the list of do's and don'ts under the Code of Professional Conduct of stipulated by Board of Engineers Malaysia. So if you still remember class, I've given you a task to provide questions on this part here. Okay, so even though I would like to highlight, even though some of the groups, okay, you haven't submit any questions, so I assume because you didn't submit any questions because you understood everything. I hope so. But the questions I got from the rest of the groups that were submitting the questions, they are very lovely and very interesting questions that we are going to look in this video. So without further ado, let's look into the first question. And the first question is related to, this is from group G group, this is from group 4. Okay, all right, number 1 related to, all right, before we go further to the question, I just want to give you like a very summarization on this do's and don'ts list of BM. Okay, Code of Professional Conduct by BM. Okay, so there are 5 categories here. So we know there are registration, consultancy, supervision, regulatory requirements, code of ethics. Alright, so I just want you to know all these are not made up by our syllabus, by any lecturers or any academicians or whatsoever. This is the real stuff. This is the legal things that you have to know once you become engineer, and especially once you become a professional engineer. Hopefully one day you become a real professional engineer. All right. Okay, so these actually come from this document here. Okay, this is document here is brief introduction to Code of Ethics for Young Engineers. This came directly from Board of Engineers Malaysia, but you have to really refer to the date. This is a revision on the date of 9th August 2005, which on 2015 BM has made another revision, which is the latest one on 2015. So they came out with a new it's not a new, it's still Registration of Engineers Act 1967. Okay, but there is a new revised, some of the clauses in the Engineering Acts are being revised. So this is what they are going to refer on. So this is just a summary. This is not a thing. This is not a document that we are going to use once as engineer, okay, or used by BM. But this is just a summary to guide new engineers, young engineers. All right. So this is just summary they made for us. But actually, all these actually come from here, right? But this one is the one that is revised one. Okay, registration of engineers. So everything here. So here we can look at Board of Engineers. We have restriction, unregistered, engineering consultancy. So this actually come from, I think I have it here or not. I don't think I have it. So this is actually come from this document here, the Registration of Engineers Act 1967, Akta ini. Okay, but this one is amendments up to 2015. Okay, alright. So the one we refer is only before that, the one that is before the revision, before the revised version. Okay, so but for our syllabus, for our topic, okay, we are just gonna cover this one here. We're going to look at the old one. Okay, and the same goes to your Code of Professional Conduct that we have 5 tenets. That one is actually from 2005. So here they are, the list here. Okay, you can see they are quite the same that the ones that we have learned in chapter 2.2. But actually now we have a new one, which is a revised one. Okay, from here there are some revised. So actually then the list come a little bit different now. Okay, all right, so the point is, what I can tell you from my observation, the change is mainly focused on the registration part. Okay, where before this we don't have engineering and registration of engineering technologies. Now we have registration for engineering technologies with BAM. And then for professional engineers, there are two different type of professional engineer. So professional engineer with practicing certificate, and another one just professional engineer. All right. Okay. All right. So there are a few things that have been changed, so they have to revise. Anyway, we are still going to refer on this year for our syllabus, for our lesson. Okay. So now we have summarized things, and now let's go to the first question. Okay, the first question is, can Sir tell us more specific about the government requirements? So maybe this is for consultancy. So if you look at the consultancy, there is in the do's, it says that be aware. Okay, when you become you work within consultancy companies related to engineering field, you must be aware of government requirement to use local materials wherever possible. All right, this one, we can look at. Okay, so the question again, the specific, what are the requirements? So this is actually, I cannot give you a very specific one because it depends on what are the things that you are looking at. But I can give you an example, like if we have a factories, we are involved in manufacturing industry, and then of course in factory we have waste. Kita ada barang-barang tersisa, can be chemical, can be physical, but mostly the one that we are really worried is the chemical waste. So are they being treated before, treated well with appropriate process before they are released to our environment, to the river whatsoever. So if there are some requirements that related by government, okay, especially in the case that I mentioned about the waste, we can look here. Let me share with you. So this is one of the jabatan, okay, under Kementerian Alam Sekitar dan Air. So this is Jabatan Alam Sekitar. So one of their job scope, alright, is to pengawasan alam sekitar, pemeliharaan ketahanan, membuat penilaian. So these people, okay, this division here, department here, they set some of the things, they're going to, I wouldn't set the rules, but mainly make assessment, ensure that any industrial works abide with the our natural and our environment's sustainability. So like, can you give you another example? Let's say forest. Okay, when we want to make a new development in a forest, means that we have to clear some part of the forest. So cutting the trees and so on, we cannot just like do that at will. Depends on ourselves. So there are some requirements. There are requirements made by government. Depends on the department and the ministry. So what we can do, what we can do, what we are allowed to do, how much. So these are the kind of requirements that we have to meet on. So basically, whenever you need, you involve materials like forests, like minerals and whatsoever, you have to, apply for approval to ensure that you are going to follow all the requirements by the government. Okay, so they are going to check, government bodies going to check your documents, your work progress, and ensure that you are following all the requirements, okay, related to our materials, our environment, and so on. Okay, I hope that answered the question. Next, let's look at the next question. Why engineers are not allowed to give idea even though he has a full fact to support their opinion? Right, I think this one is the do's under consultancy. Sorry, is it true? 2.6. All right, don'ts. Okay, under consultancy, there is a don'ts here. So it says here, a checker engineer. So when you're talking about checker engineer, there is only one person that is called as checker engineer, which is professional engineer. So the professional engineer is the only person that can check any design, any works, any engineering works by the subordinates. Okay, alright. So a checker engineer cannot offer his opinion on engineering matters unless he has full facts to support the opinion. So the question here says why the engineers are not allowed to give idea even though he has. Alright, I don't think this is the. I'm not sure I understand this question. I believe you might have make it. You mean something else, right? So because engineers are allowed, then if the engineers don't have enough facts, don't have enough knowledge, facts, involvement with any of the engineering matters they are going to give opinions on. So of course they cannot speak anything lah, give any opinion. All right. But if he has a full facts on that, then they or that person, the engineer, can give their opinion, okay, on that matters. Okay, so if you have full facts, then you can give your opinion. Okay, so but the question is why the engineers are not allowed. Okay, maybe like why he doesn't allow to say anything, even since he has no full facts on the engineering matters. So this is because this is not just applicable for any engineering work. Okay, so if you have, you know that we cannot just like say anything about anything. Okay, especially when related to professional things, engineering matters. So you must have knowledge, not just have understanding. Even though you are expert on the matter, but if you then have the full facts on that engineering matter, let's say we are talking about a certain part of industry, engineering industry, we're talking about a project, and this project is in specific, even though you are expert in let's say construction, okay, without the knowledge, the full facts, okay, what are the progress of the project, you cannot just say anything, give any opinion on that unless you have the access to the facts, you understand the facts, you bring the facts, then you can give your opinion on the matter. Okay, otherwise everybody can say anything they want, and that's going to make things more complicated. And you know, when fake news go on spread, and it can make matters become more severe, right? Next question under the supervision. All right, why engineer cannot accept unqualified site supervisory staff? All right, why engineer cannot accept unqualified site supervisory staff? Okay, all right, so first of all, let's look into a bit detail on what is actually site supervisor. So site supervisor is actually this one. Okay, also known as construction site supervisor. So this is talking about more on construction lah. Okay, so what they do, they supervise, they monitor the progress of construction project and ensure the compliance with construction safety regulation. So there are two things: monitor the progress, make sure it progress accordingly, and make sure the safety within the construction site. Okay, so these are more into detail their responsibilities. You can look here. You can pause the video if you want to and look at the detail here. But basically, the thing that site supervisor must do is inspect construction sites regularly to identify, eliminate potential safety hazards. So like things that hazards are the thing that can create risk to the workers and whatsoever. Okay, workers to the public that close to the sites. Okay, so everybody that has the access to the sites must be ensured, okay, safe, okay, safe from any hazards. So when talking about safety inspecting, so if you don't have you are incompetent, you don't have the right knowledge, but what are the hazards, what sort of hazards we are going to give much attention on within the construction sites. So I don't think we want to hire that kind of people. Okay, next, supervising and instructing the construction team. So we have construction team, okay, from the lowest level to the highest level. So you should be able to instruct them. So if you don't understand what are the construction works, what are the works involved and so on, what are the skills related, how can you give instruction to them, make sure that the progress of the work in accordance to the plan. So here, that's why site supervisor must be competent, must be qualified. Okay, so here are the kind of requirements normally that we have on site supervisor. So bachelor degree in construction management, construction science, civil engineering. In some cases, diploma in civil engineering, construction management and so on still are accepted, depends on the level of the work involved lah. Okay, kalau melibatkan big project, then of course we are talking about engineer with bachelor's degree background. Okay, but if you're talking about small project, normally diploma holders under the civil engineering or construction management, they can work as a site supervisor as well. Okay, let's look at the next question. Okay. Alright, under regulatory and requirements, don'ts. Okay, so let's look at here. Okay, so it says here, the question is, what punishment for an engineer will get if he proceeds and allow any work without the right authority permission? And this is, engineer should not allow works to proceed before plans or submitted approved by the relevant authorities. Okay, so you need to understand the process of engineering works. So before you can begin any work, engineering work, you must make sure that the work, the plan of the work, okay, the design of the work, the plan, basically the plan, must be approved by the authorities, relevant authorities. So the kind of authorities that we're talking about is like Majlis Daerah, Majlis Bandaran, Majlis Bandaraya, and then within that kita ada Jabatan Kerja Raya, we have Jabatan Paritan dan Saliran. So all these authorities, okay, will give you approval. So, but at the end of the day, the final one that going to check everything, they're going to approve the final say, giving the final approval is what we're talking as majlis lah. Okay, district. I don't know, district. I forgot about the name, but basically Majlis Daerah and so on. Majlis Daerah, Majlis Bandaran, Majlis Bandaraya. So what punishment for engineer will get if he proceeds and allow any work without the right authority permission? So I can give you an example what happened. We have like so this is more about the consequence of to engineers that just proceed the work, the engineering work without this authority permission. So we can look here. So let's say like kilang haram. So this is like kilang that are illegal, that are not being approved to run, but they're still running. So what are the things that they are being punished with? I'm not sure if we stated here. Okay, but this is an example of kilang haram. Okay, and then we have this one as well. Five, another five. I will honors. Okay, of the illegal factories. Okay, so one of the thing they are going to be present, and like some compound. Okay, to the amount of $100,000 ringgit, and then maybe you are going, but I think not maybe, but for sure, if you are like a real engineers, you have registered with BM and so on. Okay, your license to practice might be levied. I mean, might be cancel lah. Okay, ataupun maybe dipanggil apa digantung. Okay, for temporary, within certain period. Okay, so this is again some of the example that you can look in the news. Okay, so here like okay, this one, okay, this kilang here we're talking about kilang apa ni, kilang papan haram. Okay, so these people here, they are not just going to be charged with, you know, jabatan dalam sekitar whatsoever. Not only one, I mean one legal actions. Okay, not just one direction. There are so many. Macam dalam kes ni, enactment industri berasas kayu. So there are under that section as well. Okay, so depends on the acts that we are looking at, and then after that ada pula section 47. So another one. Another one. So depends on the acts they are going to be charged with. So banyak lah. Okay, banyak sangat kadang-kadang. Okay, so let's look at the next question. Okay, under the ethics, okay, the fifth code of ethics. Okay, what is the type of solicit or bribe that's always happen in engineering practice? So, an engineer should not solicit or tout. Okay, so basically rasuah lah, ambil rasuah ataupun minta rasuah. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to show you news as well. Let me say padam dulu. Okay, alright. Okay, so you can look at the news for the previous question. Alright, so rasuah. So there are like cases in the news that we can look at like this one. Jurutera daerah antara 6 ditahan, SPRM babitkan projek jutaan ringgit. So here, I'm just gonna go to the part of the charge. Alright, projek yang menurut sumber 3 kontraktor turut ditahan bagi bantuan siasatan kerana didakwa merasuah ketiga-tiga suspek bagi mendapatkan projek ditawarkan. So basically, okay, this is like you have to know that there are agencies what we call as developer, and then this developer can be like under government, under what we call it, under private companies, and then we have GLC. Okay, semi-government bodies. Okay, so they are going to make some development. Okay, and then they are going to hire engineers. Okay, to work as their consultant or maybe as well as their contractor and so on. Okay, but that normally is going to be they might have a different companies taking the job as consultant and taking the job as a contractor, I mean, for the construction. So what they're going to do is they are going to have their representative within the company. Okay, this I mean the developer, their staff going to represent them. Okay, staff lah dia orang punya pekerja dia orang kan. So maybe they are the higher ups of their company. They are going to look at open the tenders, tawaran kepada kerja, open to the engineering companies, okay, related engineering companies. So, and then this contractor or this consultant, they are going to, join the tender lah. I mean, go pada tawaran tu, then offer certain things, offer dia orang punya package, dia orang punya plan, how much their cost, how much is the cost, what they are going to do. Okay, so biasanya kalau tender ni ramailah yang akan apply that tender. Okay, so this the developer going to choose either one. But even though I say the developer, we must remember that the developer will be represented by their representative lah, dia punya pekerja dia kan. So pekerja dia mungkin lah yang orang atas sana juga kan. So what they do is they said to the contractor, okay, kita beri contoh dalam kes ni, contractor, okay, what can you offer me? Now more personal. Okay, aku boleh approve kau ni. I can do something lah with your offer, so that we going to sign the contract. You're gonna get the job. Okay, so what is it for me? What is in? Okay, what is it in for me lah? Apa yang saya boleh dapat hari ni? So dia offer lah bayaran suapan, rasuah kepada pihak representative tu. Contohlah kan. Alright. So other than that, ada juga kes yang macam mana. So we have, you know, the 3 contractors. Ni bagi contoh lain lah. So ada 3 contractor yang go fight for one tender. So this one of the 3 contractor might speak, might have a discussion with the other 2. You know what, you give me this one, aku bagi bayaran kat kau lah. Then of course again, the contractor mungkin lebih pada representative, mungkin personal. Nanti dia buatlah cerita pada bos dia, dia mungkin tak dapat ke sebagainya. At the end of the day, mungkin actually they have like a perancangan lah, agenda within their terms. Okay, so itu contoh-contoh rasuah yang dalam industri engineering lah. So the same goes here. You can read here. You can pause the video and look and try baca sikit-sikit. So this one is about penolong jurutera majlis Bandaran Kuala Selangor ni accept suapan RM5,000. Okay, bribe. So I'm not sure the detail of the issue here. But normally lah, I think normally there are some document that are not complete by the engineers, or mungkin sebenarnya bukan tak complete, salah, mungkin menyalahi undang-undang. So untuk mendiamkan, to shut off the majlis supaya tak bising, so kita suap lah penolong jurutera ni untuk buat tak nampak lah that issue. So dia bagi suapan. So there's another issue lah, contoh. Another one that we can look here, this one. Okay, this one is about pembinaan jalan raya, pembinaan sekolah tahfiz daerah berkenaan. So I don't know, maybe the same case, berkaitan dengan tender ke, melibatkan dokumen tak lengkap ke, menyalahi undang-undang ke, tak siap ke. So this is an example lah, contoh. Okay, so these are the things yang biasanya berlaku dalam engineering industry, melibatkan solicit and tout. Okay, alright, let's look at the next question. Okay, alright. Why an engineering consultant should not carry out for fees below the minimum? So this one is under consultancy. Let's look at that. And it says here, the don'ts. Okay, here. An engineering consultant should not carry out project for fees below the minimum. Okay, this one is more like business. You know, if you have competition, okay, you have service and consultancy service, you offer consultancy service. Okay, if everyone offer too low, very low fees, okay, you're going to lower again. So that competition is not healthy. Okay, so mungkin macam syarikat baru kalah lah. Okay, mungkin syarikat lama yang dah besar, they are having stable incomes whatsoever, so they can offer small fees. Okay, mungkin dia orang ada kepakaran dan sebagainya. And then the small companies yang baru masuk dalam kerjaya consultancy ni, they cannot fight with that, yang mana dia akan offer fee yang lebih tinggi. So then it's not fair lah. So in order to make sure the fairness, so BM, okay, has set certain the minimum scale of fees lah untuk consultancy punya yuran. So dia has minimum, so you cannot put lower than the minimum. So macam this is the same goes to when we buy product lah kan, macam kedai-kedai kan. So dia jual barang gula kat kedai dia murah, okay, it's cheap, okay, and kat sana lagi murah. So there is no control on the price, then susah lah. This is more about business lah, business environment. It's not healthy when you don't have any minimum price, minimum scale of fees. Okay, next question. Okay, under supervision don'ts. Okay, it says here, an engineer must not over or under certify progress of work. The question is, who can take over the progress of work? The question. Alright, okay, so you cannot over and under certify progress. Alright, okay. So number one, you have to remember that to certify progress of work, there is only one person can do that, which is a professional engineer lah. So over certify means that actually the progress is here, but you say is over that. Okay, contohnya you baru 50% tapi you sign, you certify the progress is 60%. Okay, nanti saya kita kenapa dia over, kenapa, why kita over certify ataupun under certify. Okay, maknanya patutnya progress dah 50% tapi you kata 40%, you under certify dia. Okay, so kenapa kita over certify? So siapa yang certify? Kenapa engineer ni over certify? Alright, kenapa before that certify? So kenapa certify ni macam bagi sijil kan, macam you talking about oh ada sijil eh. So it's not like your SPM sijil or whatever. Okay, this is certify is why at certain progress, you know, like let's talk about contractor, construction contractor. Okay, so diorang ni dibayar once they are finished, they are complete certain progress, okay, of their work. Okay, dekat progress ni dia akan dapat bayaran sampai tahap itu. So before that, before they achieve that progress, they have to pay their own money. Okay, diorang kena keluarkan duit sendirilah. Sebab tu kontraktor ni kena ada modal yang besar. Okay, so now let's say dia progress, okay, tak sampai tahap tu. Let's say at 30% dia akan dapat bayaran at 30%. Okay, dapat certify yang mana katakan okay dia sampai 30% dan boleh apply dapatkan duit. So dia apply kat siapa? Dia akan tunjukkan certify tu, hantar kat quantity surveyor untuk luluskan kewangan lah. Dan quantity surveyor akan hantar kepada klien, pemaju, dan pemaju ni akan approve duit, masukkan duit lah for 30% punya progress. So katakanlah dia ada kawan hubungan baik dengan apa ni engineer yang certify tadi tu kan, contractor tadi ada hubungan baik, has some relationship with the contractor. Okay, contractor and the engineer yang certify tadi tu ada relationship, and then they say aku baru 20%, kau certify lah, cakap lah aku 20%, aku tak ada duit ni, duit tak ada. Okay, so dia over certify sebab nak kasih duit tu. Okay, and then engineer tu kata lah, tak boleh ni, salah ni, aku bagi kau sikit, aku bagi kau sikit nanti, don't worry. So berlaku ni solicit kat situ ataupun bribery kat situ. So itu yang kita tak nak lah. And then under certify. So under certify ni contohnya the contractor okay doesn't have good term lah dengan engineer tu, dan engineer kononnya dia ada orang lain yang dia nak developer hire sebagai contractor, tapi kawan contractor tu mungkin adik-beradik dia ke kan. So tapi company tu tak dapat, jadi apa dia nak buat? Dia nak burukkan company ni supaya company ni akan ditendang, tak boleh carry on the progress, dan masuk kontraktor adik dia ataupun keluarga dia ataupun kawan baik dia tu lah, contoh. So ini contoh. So dia apa dia buat? Dia under certify, dia kata patutnya dalam 40%, 30%, patutnya 30%, 30%. At 30% they are going to provide with the payment for the progress. Tapi because dia certify 20% baru, dia susah-susah kan. So the payment is delayed, and the contractor might have to surrender lah, terpaksa berundur diri, tak boleh nak teruskan dia orang punya project, and this going to make kita panggil mencemarkan dia punya inilah quality of work, macam itulah, dia punya nama baik dia lah. Okay, so this the question is, who can take over the progress of work? Okay, I'm not sure who can take over the progress of work. because this question is more about certify progress. So I hope you have more understanding lah about the certify progress ni. Okay. The next question, under regulatory requirements, don'ts. Okay. An engineer should not undertake project which the client is not going to fulfill statutory requirements. So this one, as I said before, before you can begin any work, so okay, and at the planning stage, okay, dia ada procurement. So procurement ni biasanya kat developer ada procurement dia. Pemaju ni yang ada duit, they have the model, they have the capital, ada duit untuk menjalankan sesuatu project and certain development, but they must submit application to get approval by the authorities. Okay, so antara benda-benda yang there are some of the requirements so that they can be approved, the work can be approved, the development can be approved to be carry on. Okay, contohnya must abide with the environmental issues. Okay, tak ada masalah dari segi alam sekitar, tidak membahayakan awam, on their own lands. Okay, yang daripada on the property, under the property, their own property, bukan curi, bukan reserve tanah reserve dan sebagainya. So that the kind of things, the requirement tu. So kalau they still proceed, okay, so engineer ni dia still proceed project dia walaupun dia tahu the client tak follow, don't have the approval under the statutory requirements ni kan. Okay, so the question is what the statutory requirements. So I think I have mentioned that. Contoh tadi lah, penggunaan tak berkaitan dengan tanah, berkaitan dengan sumber air, sumber alam dan sebagainya. So all those statutory requirements must be abide by the developer. Tapi developer ni tak ikut, you are not supposed to carry on the project. Okay, otherwise you means that you are dipanggil bersubahat lah. Alright. Okay, the next question, if an engineer make a wrongful certification, what the punishment that engineers get? So ni macam tadilah over or under certify. Okay, so in engineering work, especially in construction, dia ada jenis-jenis certification dia. CFs, there are certain certification yang saya tak ingat nama dia. CF, certification of fitness, certification of compliance, CCF, I couldn't remember the detail. Ada jenis-jenis ni lah. So ini akan dikeluarkan oleh engineer to get payment lah. The contractor can get, when the contractor has this, when the contractor has the certification, they can apply for their payment lah. Okay. So if engineer make wrongful certification, what is the punishment that engineer get? Okay. So ni contoh news. Okay, ada ni lah, kata contractor dia denda RM10,000 pasukan dokumen. So this is an example of the things under the law lah. Tapi ni I think this one is very small. Okay, this one is actually, so this contractor dia buat kerja penyelenggaraan bekalan air ni, baik pulih, assistance sebagainya. And then dia kata dalam kerja dia tu, dia kata dia dah pasang mechanical seal ni. Okay, which is dia tak pasang pun. So apa dia buat? Dia kata kononnya nak membuktikan to prove that he has install the mechanical seal and whatsoever lah, dah buat bahagian tu. So dia buat satu dokumen palsu mengatakan ada beli mechanical seal ni dengan nilai RM5,200 ni, but actually there is none. Okay, so ni antara benda-benda yang dihukum lah. So contractor can be panggil compounded, okay, can be take off their license to practice, apa lagi, penjara, can also be penjara ni, hukuman penjara maksimum 2 tahun. Okay, so banyak lah. Kalau kita tengok, depends on the what are the certification yang dia dah certified, certification yang dia dah palsukan ataupun menipu lah. Okay, alright, so kita ada lagi beberapa soalan ni. So I'm going to be a bit more faster, a bit more fast. An engineer should not accept work outside his regular work without permission of his employer. What is the difference between regular work that engineer do and outside work? Okay, so regular work is actually the one that you do under your competency. okay, under your competency, and the one that is that you do in your office hour lah. Okay, so without outside that regular work is out of your competency, you might have the ability to do that. Okay, sepatutnya tak boleh lah, sepatutnya you cannot do the work outside of your competency, but at some point engineer boleh buat kerja yang bukan bidang dia, dengan syarat dia ada pengalaman dan ilmu. Mungkin dia ada join kursus, dia dapat sijil, bukan degree lah, sijil latihan dan sebagainya. So but you must make sure that your employer, which is biasanya professional engineer, tahu dulu. Okay, let them know. If they are agree, they give you permission, then you can do that part of the work. Okay, ataupun macam you ambil kerja-kerja part time, okay, dia panggil freelance work to design whatsoever. So you have to make sure that your employer knows lah you ada buat kerja tu. Okay, so alright, there is information whether a professional engineer can submit plans for approval if he is not involved in business activity. There is information whether a professional engineer can submit plans. How is BM going to ascertain that this registration is not abuse? Okay, so apa ni cakap ni? So you know that PE, one of the responsibility of PE is to approve, to sign documents lah, plans, documents, macam designs, okay, calculations by the engineering teams, okay, under his supervision, okay, under his supervision only. Tak boleh, okay, tak boleh, professional engineer tak boleh sign yang bukan bawah supervision dia, yang bukan bawah involvement dia, okay, yang bukan bawah company dia dan sebagainya lah. So means that, let's say you have a friend, your friend ni nak buat, dia engineer biasa je, then they want to make some engineering works, tapi dia tak ada orang nak approvekan dia, sebab kalau tak ada sign untuk professional engineer, mungkin dia ada tindakan undang-undang. So dia jumpa awak, kata kau ni PE kan, jadi tolonglah sign je, tapi aku akan pastikan lah, kau jangan risau kerja cantiknya. Tapi not under your company, not under your direct supervision, bukan your direct supervision. Atas dasar kepercayaan tu, you kata, oh yelah aku sign, nanti kau hantar je, tapi ada bayaran lah, ada fees lah, bayarlah RM10,000 ke RM15,000 ke. So this is actually illegal. This is not ethical. Okay, so then this question here, how is BM going to ascertain that this registration is not abuse? Macam mana BM nak tahu kan? Macam mana nak tahu? So this is very interesting question, and I'm not sure lah, this is only based on my experience. Memang ada kebanyakan kes yang macam ni berlaku di Malaysia lah, especially. Masih ada lagi kes-kes macam ni berlaku, yang mana IR, professional engineer, sign work yang bukan bawah direct supervision dia, to get some benefit lah, bayaran dan sebagainya, tanpa perlu buat kerja lebih-lebih, dia dapat bayaran. Okay, I'm talking about thousands, 10,000 ringgit. So this actually should not happen. So but then how BM going to ascertain? So BM will investigate lah as much as possible, tapi tak boleh kata confirm dapat. Memang akan ada loophole, memang akan ada kes-kes yang selamat. Tapi if there is anything happen, okay, if nothing happen, that's fine. Bukan actually it's unethical, and it's illegal. Tapi kalau tak jumpa, memang tak boleh kata apa lah kan. Macam you mencuri kalau tak kantoi, selamat lah. Macam tu. So tak kantoi, selamat. But kalau kantoi, macam mana kantoi? Contohnya biasanya the project that you have signed, the document that you have signed, ada masalah, kematian ke, ada kemalangan berlaku ke. So they're going to look who signed this. The first thing they're going to do, they're look who signed this project, who signed the document, who signed the design, and then they're going to investigate. First of all, they can check, do you have the direct supervision on the project, or you have another project yang awak involved, yang ni hanya side freelance awak penuhnya, yang awak tak tengok pun, awak tak study pun, awak tak tahu pun. So dia akan investigate lah, BM akan investigate. So if they find that you are not the person that in charge, the professional engineer in charge directly on the project, awak akan ambil tindakan. So itu antara ni. So this is very nice question. I think you might have experienced. This question is actually from, normally lah, this kind of question is actually from experienced people. So I'm pretty sure maybe awak pernah dengar ke, ataupun you have heard from your family members yang kerja sebagai engineer. So this is tricky question ni untuk saya sebenarnya. But that is the answer that I can say to you. So kalau ada family members yang buat amalan ni, my prayer is semoga tak kantoi. Alright, the next question is, if a professional engineer is allowed to endorse plans for charity works, which is not. Charity work ke tak charity work ke, professional engineer cannot endorse plans, tak boleh sign plans, okay, tak boleh approve plans yang bukan bawah direct supervision tadi. Macam tadilah saya kata tadi, tak boleh. This is not under your direct supervision. Tak boleh unless you have direct supervision. Awak yang memang awak dia hire dia apa, the charity work ni hire awak dan sebagainya, then who will be liable for any loss arising? So tak, awak lah, kalau awak endorse plan tu, awak akan be liable. Liable sebab apa? Awak tidak layak, awak tidak patut endorse dokumen dia dan awak endorse. Awak dah salah kat situ lah. Okay, macam tadi lah soalan tadi tu, soalan sebelum tadi tu. You cannot endorse works that is not your under your direct supervision. So cannot do that. So dalam kes, tak kisahlah charity work ke tak charity work ke, doesn't matter. Okay, so siapa yang sign tu dia akan bertanggungjawab. Okay, alright. So I hope I think that is all for our question. Banyak juga sebenarnya ni. Ini baru separuh kumpulan ni, mana separuh daripada 6 kumpulan. Jadi tak apalah. I think I hope you can get the best out of this session, this video here. Okay, thank you very much and thank you for the question, and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and goodbye.